In 2011, I wrote the script for a 15-minute martial arts short film that would later be titled Slug Street Scrappers. Soon after its debut, the project evolved into an ongoing series, earning a cult-like following and millions of views. This is the making of Slug Street Scrappers. So back in 2011, while training for a kickboxing match in Thailand, a friend of mine sent me a copy of a fan remake of the Streets of Rage video game series. The remake rekindled my love for a game that I had first played as a kid back in the early 90s. The Streets of Rage series, also known as Bare Knuckle outside of the US, was colorful, far-fetched, and packed full of martial arts. It was similar to other games of the time like Final Fight, Street Fighter, and Mortal Kombat. After returning home to the USA, I became determined to create an original film series inspired by those games.
So I first got involved with Slug Street Scrapper series by Micah Brock, the producer and the director, a friend of mine. He has his own channel, filming company called Whirlwind Action, as you already know. And he had this idea to do a video game inspired sequence. From what I understand, he's been having this idea for quite some time, and then I had a video that was kind of like a fight game, like a tag team 2-on-3, and it kick-started the idea a little bit further, or motivated him even more, I suppose. And then he called me up and said, hey, let's do a blah 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 thing, and this and that and that and this, and then one thing led to my mother, or another, and Slug Street Scrappers.
I got it.
Find me a rock that has cleavage.
Has cleavage?
You guys laugh, but no, that's a rock term.
Cleavage.
How did the role of Peaches come to you? How did you get involved in Scrappers?
Micah had actually come to me because he'd seen some of my fight videos, and he'd asked me if I would read for the role of Peaches, and I did, and I immediately fell in love with the character, and that's how I came on a Slug Street.
This isn't over. It's just the beginning. Soon, you will have every member of the Slugger Squad hunting you down. Just wait. We'll be back. Just in case that wasn't clear.
What's up? Kaylin? Alright, good. Ready? And action.
This isn't over. In fact, it's just the beginning.
Just do it. Do it around the house and then go to the face. Okay, she spins. Okay, great. Alright, ready?
That was nice.
Alright.
I'd been experimenting with action filmmaking since 2001, and was fortunate enough to nab a few awards and nominations for action direction, performance, and fight choreography for previous films I'd done. So I felt confident I had the experience needed to pull it off. I knew the series had to be colorful and have 80s and 90s style outfits. I also wanted the writing and acting to feel cheesy and over the top, to match much of what we saw from action films and video games of that era.
Ah! Ice!
Ice!
Hook! Hook!
The majority of the Slug Street Scrappers series was filmed in Los Angeles, I lived in San Diego during most of the production, so a typical shoot day for me started at about 3 a.m. Since the drive from San Diego to Los Angeles usually took about 2 or 3 hours to complete depending on traffic, I would need to have all of the wardrobe and filming equipment inventoried and loaded into my car by 5 a.m. each morning, in order to make the typical call time of 8 a.m.
Okay guys, so here we are, just preparing for the first shoot day for Slug Street Scrappers 4. Goodbye, Goddess. And this is how, apparently, the Red Goddess gets ready every morning.
It's the Dragonborn. You can't not put your makeup on to the Dragonborn.
I kind of got into all of this awesome craziness because my brother is in a band called King Legend, and they had a music video for a song called Curtain Falls, and I was just kind of hanging out at home playing League of Legends, and I get a text from my brother, and he's like, "You want to be in a music video?" And I was like, "Hey, why not? That sounds like a better waste of my time." So I got to the music video set and got to meet Micah and got to meet Blake, and then Micah found out that I game and that I'm kind of a cool person, I guess, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be in a video?" And I was like, "Okay." And it started off as 2 characters from the music video, and then it just kind of was like, "Hey, do you want to play 2 more?" And I was like, "Oh, why not? That sounds like fun." So it was all kind of one of those snowball things, I guess, where I tripped down a mountain and I started rolling, and now I'm just like a giant snowball.
I'm trying to find a shirt, okay? But instead I'm just finding a lot of socks. Can I wear my Middle-earth pants?
You can wear the Middle-earth pants, Maggie.
Can I wear the Middle-earth pants with the bear hat? Oh, God. I should not be sitting in the passenger seat where the seatbelt doesn't register my body weight. If you brake, I'll go forward. Yeah. Film days.
Film days.
LA! Not yet, we're still in San Diego.
This is a foggy place they call San Diego. Where's Jimmy?
Yeah.
There's Mason. Yeah. Jimmy, Mr. Sexy, as you guys know him. There's a giant, crazy microphone, some stuff. I don't know if this is interesting to you guys, but I'll show it to you anyway. Camera's over there, and the glorious background.
How did you come to play Knuckles? Tell me about how the role came to you.
Well, that story is actually a pretty simple story. I just woke up, checked my Facebook messages, and then I was like, "Who's this guy, Micah?" And there was a message from him, and it said, "Hey, check out some of my other work, and I have this series going on." So I checked it out.
What was the first thing you thought when you watched episode 1?
Let me go back in my memory from when I was sitting there watching that. I was really impressed with the fighting styles and just the general style of the film. And I was actually pretty excited to finally be a part of something where I could show off more of my martial arts abilities. I liked their realistic fighting approach in it, and I liked the kind of Street Fighter look of the characters as well. I thought that's pretty cool. So.
No, I got up at 7:30.
But we didn't I didn't get home. Are we on this side or the other side? We're going to the Slug Dam.
If it was a weekend, we'd
The famous node round. What did I just say?
Slug Dam.
Slug Dam, yeah. Basically, here out in the middle of nowhere, go over the dam and try to film some awesome fight scenes with Tess, Caitlin, Micah, and Blake. Yeah, to make magic happen.
The Tess. The one and only Tess. And we have the airplanes that never stop. Yeah, and you're being stiff. Just stay loose and really pop your hip. Spin your feet, pop your hip, over exaggerate it. You know, even if you have to punch more out just to get your arm to be straighter.
Okay.
When it connects. So.
I'm so tired. I can't open my eyes because they're sunburnt. And my nose is stuffy. Oh, and I ate too much.
So would you say fighting on Slug Street Scrappers is an easy, posh sort of job?
Oh. It's hard. To sleep for like 12 hours. But I gotta get just
Yep. She has jujitsu in the morning.
One of the many things you do is sound for the Scrapper series. Tell me a little bit about how that works.
There's when you're collecting video, you have typically a bunch of people working to do all the many different jobs that go into it. You got a lighting guy, you got lighting, you got the sound, you got the camera people, you've got people that chase away demons, you've got sages and stuff. What I do, because since we shoot such guerrilla really quick and really efficiently, I kind of do a few jobs, and one of the jobs is necessarily setting up audio.
How do you start learning all of these different skill sets?
Trial and error, doing it a bunch of times and being really honest with yourself if it sucks.
Honesty's the big key, huh?
Yeah, I mean, look what happened to George Lucas. If you don't have people telling you too, this is what's cool about working with Micah and me, because we can tell each other if it sucks or not. Yeah, a lot of trial and error and study. I'm kind of nerdy, and I like the way stuff works. Any one of those odd disciplines is by no means perfected by me. Like you said, the jack of all trades is like a double-edged kind of thing. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty darn good at a lot of those, and what I'm not really good at, I defer to people that I know can do it better than me.
Hey, how's it going? We should have kept 180. I could have been like having a conversation with Meg.
That's going pretty good. How about you, Saya? Saya!
I'm always good. Come here. Come sit by me. You come. No, yep. You just. No, that'll only keep you from me. You come. Okay. We'll observe this. We'll observe the distance. That's fine. Peaches lives.
Oh, you cut out the kid. Okay, alright.
Oh, good. Y'all good? Oh, you wanted to. Oh, you didn't get to see any of the. You didn't get to see any of the fun stuff. Before.
Oh boy. Purser, please. I can't lose you again. Purser, please.
I showed up and Micah goes, so I have a kiddie pool for the rain scene. And I didn't even know there was going to be a rain scene. So I was like, what? Okay. So essentially what the night ended up being was me standing in a kiddie pool in my goddess costume, but without shoes. And just kind of being lightly hosed down with kind of like, I guess, I don't know. We had a hose snaking from the living room all the way into the bathroom. I don't know why we didn't use the kitchen sink. Maybe it didn't fit, but we used the other bathroom sink, and it was cool because there was a temperature gauge, so it wasn't like freezing cold water. But the second the water was no longer on, I was just like, so I'm standing with an umbrella, just like, stop shivering, Maggie. You can't say your lines if your teeth are chattering. But the good thing is I didn't have too many. But it was really crazy. I never thought it could rain indoors, but we made it rain indoors. But I mean, shivering and shaking and craziness aside, it was really cool. The room was all filled up with fog machine smoke, and I could hardly even see. I was like fumbling around like, where's the refrigerator? No, can't see it. But it was cool. I don't even know how the guys did it. Like, Blake was crouched down in the corner, like, just trying to get the perfect angle of the rain. Like, hang on, I got it. I mean, getting the ceiling all wet and all the surrounding area. But it was totally worth it. It was a blast, and I think that that's my favorite shot so far to have, like, filmed, was just the crazy indoor rain scene in a kiddie pool.
Showcasing the technique of the martial arts and the skill of the martial artists was very important to me. I wanted to be sure the style of cinematography we chose would allow for the performance of the actors to drive the action, as opposed to the movement of the camera. The more you move the camera, the less emphasis there is on the actual techniques being used, and it also helps to cover up imperfections in performances. I wanted the opposite. I wanted the camera to be as still as possible, so every fantastic movement of the martial artists could be clearly seen and admired by the audience. This also meant I needed to cast only those with elite level skill, since the still camera work meant there was no way to cover up a poor or unconvincing martial arts performance.
Have you ever been actually like punched or kicked?
On set?
Or
On set of
harmed
Slug
in
Street?
general?
Or on set in general?
On Slug Street.
On Slug Street, have I ever been hit? Yes. My very last scene that I was filming with a specific bruiser, Bomb Bash. Yes, I've been hit the one time, and I think it was a mutual mess up. I don't want to blame him, even though I kind of do. I think we both messed up at the same time, and it just his hand collided with my head, so it hurt for about 5 minutes, but we kept going for the fans.
Mike was like, yeah, it's gonna be really funny if you get like kicked in the groin, and like it's like, okay. And then Mike was like, okay, stand here, and then like kind of kicked like really hard.
Oh.
And what's funny is like when you watch an episode, like before he runs over, you can see his little eyes through the mask. You know what I'm talking about though? You see your eyes, you're all
So what did you think when Micah initially talked to you about potentially playing Bones?
I was actually really excited when he came to me and said, hey, I want you to play Bones. He's doing drunken boxing. I was like, oh, this is awesome. I've done this before. It's going to be really cool to get that out there and show everybody, oh, it's drunken boxing. This is awesome. But yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking at the same time, too, because I haven't done it in so long. I've done it in previous films with Micah and other people as well. But pretty excited about it.
You've worked with Micah for a long time, and you said you've known Dom for a while.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like working with people that you've never met beforehand?
Well, it's a challenge getting to know their personalities and making sure if we can, glue, bond, however you want to say that. Other than that, a lot of times it's just doing what you're asked to do, and a lot of times that'll kind of bring out the personality, bring out the strengths of the other person. When the director says, hey, do this, you can't say, well, I'm not going to do this because I don't like them. That's not the way it works.
Do you feel like camaraderie is kind of what made it successful?
I think so, because there's a certain chemistry that goes along with fights. You could see a couple of fighters that if they don't have good chemistry, it's not a very good fight. There's no good tempo, there's not good action. Whereas with the Slug Street series, everybody seems to have good chemistry, and it shows in the fights. You got good rhythm, you got good action, good intensity, and it really shows, and people are attracted to that.
I had originally planned for a much larger finale, but due to a variety of costly complications during production, most of the finale had to be modified and cut down. For example, the remaining scrappers were supposed to have an epic battle against a possessed slugger squad, and Bruiser was supposed to fight Drake before finally confronting the revered one. The Light Goddess was also supposed to make appearances throughout the finale, but unfortunately we couldn't make it happen. Even though the production was plagued by complications, rewrites, and noisy airplanes, I am still proud of the final result. My goal was a series that punched its audience in the face with nostalgia, bringing them back to a time with high tops, 16-bit music, and over-the-top popcorn-friendly entertainment.